so this is part 3 of the Arizona Sunset project, and in this part I'm going to do all of the zentangle designs on my paper. In part 1 we drew this out, and in part 2 we did the watercolor. So if you're using color pencils or crayons or something, you probably don't want to put this third part in, but if you've painted it with watercolor, that's great. You could always put this third part in before you color it. That's an option. But I just want to go over some of these patterns with you kids so you can get a feel for all the different styles there are to zentangle. And I'm going to start here in the sun area, and I've switched to one of these just black gel pens. And since my paper is completely dry, I'm going to use that. It has a little bit of a finer point than the fine liner that I was using before, but I feel like this pen will kind of flow nicely on the paper. So I'm going to leave this center just the way it is, right? That's the middle of the sun. I'm not going to put any designs on that. I'm going to start here on the second ring. And for this ring, I'm going to come in and just do a very simple design like this. And I'm just going to do a little bit of each pattern so that you guys can see it. It would take much longer than I have in this video if I'm going to do all of it drawn out, but you get the idea. So in the center, you will do this pattern. The next line, I would make some segments with my pen. And I'm just going to do a part of it. And each pattern, I want you to know you're going to continue the pattern all the way around in each segment. So in this one, I'm going to go every other and do some lines just like this. And then maybe some dots just to give it some texture. And then again on this side, 3 little lines just like that. So that would continue all the way around. And anytime we're doing zentangle, we want to continue our pattern. Each section, we do the same pattern repetitively over and over. So I'm going to move on to the next section here. And in this ring, I'm going to do a kind of a scale design. So I have my little U's here. So I'm going upside down scales, and I'm just going to fill that in so you can see what it looks like. You want to make sure you're staying in the same ring all the way around. So for the next go, right, you want to start in the middle and go to the middle of each, right? So I'm going to bump up into the middle of each of those U's. And this will make a scale pattern, which looks kind of cool. And once you learn these patterns, you can use them in all different kinds of art. But this one is a zentangle. So I'm just going to fill this in. You want to fill in each section and not go over into the next. So be careful to not go into the next line. Just like that. Okay, so you can see how it's going to start looking, and I'll just keep continuing down. This one, maybe I'll do another stripe because I have a stripy pattern here. So I'll just do a series of stripes. And these are just suggestions, right? These are just ideas for you to use as you're doing your art at home. I was going to do just a bunch of different patterns so you can get the idea of what some of these patterns look like. So I would come in and fill in all of this at some point, and I will probably finish it up after I'm done with this video. So this stripe one, I'm going to go 3 dots and then skip 2. And then there would be a dot over here. Maybe I'll just put some in there. And here we'll have 3 little dots. I'm going to skip 2 and do 3 dots, and the same, just like that. So that's a pattern right there. And then the next one in this section, I'm going to do kind of that big rainbow look. So each of these gets the rainbow like this. And then on the other side, we just go like this behind it. And try and keep your lines together here. So it creates kind of a neat rainbow pattern. do over here, I'm just going to do a few more so you can see kind of how we fill this in. So I'm going to do a few of these rainbows, and then between them I'll just continue the lines so they look like they're overlapping each other. Okay, let's see, the next one, maybe I'll do circles. So I'm just going to do a bunch of circles. Like that. And I would do rows and rows of circles. So I'm always trying to think of like, what can I do as a repetitive pattern? So that's a good one. You just fill the whole thing up with rows of circles. And you know, you can go back in and put a little dot in each one too if you like more pen line. And those kind of things take a long time. So I'm just going to show you a little area and you get the idea. So let's do a more geometric one. So I'm just going to fill this down to the edge here so we can see what it would look like towards the edge, right? So for this one, I'm going to do a triangle zigzag through here. And then in the down triangle, I'm going to do lots of close together stripes. So you have sections for zentangle, and then inside those sections you make lots of other sections, and inside those you make pattern. So this is kind of the fun and relaxing doodle design. So if you're looking for something just to keep you busy here. All right, so that would continue all the way around. And then in this one, maybe I'll do another stripe pattern like this. And let's start doing some cross. So these end up looking like a little ladder. And of course, you want to take your time and do really nice line quality on yours. I'm kind of rushing here as usual, so I can have my videos be short. So maybe I'll do triangles in this one, and this time I'll fill them in with lines like this and like this. Kind of neat. How about a wavy line on the mountain here? You just want to be careful you don't go into the next section. And maybe I'll do some basket weaving. So to do the basket weaving pattern, you do squares and then lines one direction, then lines the other direction, and back and forth like that. And that's how we get that basket weave pattern. So you want to just keep thinking about all the different patterns you can do. Let's go into the cactus here a little bit. So one that I like is this sideways loopy. Let's do that one. You see I'm making kind of sideways U's, right? Back and forth. And I want you to think about what kind of patterns you can put on your art that's not just little hearts and flowers and arrows and shapes. You know, we want to think about line quality and random patterns that could become something interesting just by the way that you're drawing with your lines. So I'm putting little U's inside of the U's, and my paper's pretty bumpy since I didn't iron it yet. But I really wanted to post this so you could finish this. So in this line, let's do another box design. So I would just segment it here in kind of rectangular square shapes. And then every other one I'm going to put a cross in. So I exit out just like this. So you see how you think of new and interesting patterns and how you just repeat them over and over again. And if you can't come up with ideas, you can look online or, you know, follow one of these videos that I've posted. You know, of course you could put in your cactus kind of needles or pokey parts, you know, if you wanted to do something like that. I tend to like more random design of lines and waves, and I think that once you have the whole thing kind of filled in, it looks pretty neat when you have all these different. So yeah, if you want to do polka dots, try and be random. And even if you want to do like a darker line to give something a little more bold look, that is a pattern that you could put in. So, you know, try and make similar patterns so that it has kind of a theme. You don't want to do hearts and flowers on one side and then only lines on the other. So you want to keep it kind of in the same theme. Right, so I'm doing lots of round and lots of straight. And then how about some little curly cues here? So I start in the middle and I curl around and I just keep moving down here, making little curls. And so I'm going to probably go ahead and finish this off, and I will post it to my Instagram. I would love if everyone could like my videos and subscribe to my page. It'll make it easier for you to find. And after I get a certain number of subscriptions, then I can have my own domain. So it'll be pretty easier, you know, for me to link to my art tutorials on our class pages. So if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. I'd really appreciate that. This is just so you guys have an idea of some of the different patterns we can do. Let me think of one more here. Let's do triangles like that. Maybe zigzags inside of the triangle. You know, something like that would be neat. We could do X's like this. And inside of those X's, we could do lines going each direction like that. So it creates a little square. You could do this wiggly U-shaped one again. And in each one of those, maybe a circle. So just get creative with your patterns and filling in your zentangle, and then send them to me in the email, and I'd love to see what you've created. All right, thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy this week's project.